I didn't give up. I mean, I got to a point where I'd written 10 screenplays, and nothing had happened with any of them. And I was sitting down to write number 11, and it didn't seem like anything was going to happen with that. And I thought, like, what am I doing with that? Like, why am I doing this? Like, you're not helping anyone. Like, you're not helping yourself. And why don't you go, volunteer, in Africa or something like that? Why don't you do something useful in your life? And I thought, or write children's books, or have a plan B, basically. Like, I just didn't have a plan B. And so I was sort of, I had 10 scripts, and maybe I'll write it off and just go do something else with my life. And I decided, no, like, I love film, and that's all I want to do. And if I have to just sort of, like, never see a film get made, or just write scripts that no one's ever going to read, so be it. Like, that's what I want to do with my life.
Yes, in Africa there's a desperate need for screenplays.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just like I made this decision that even if I thought about this a lot, because so much of Little Miss Sunshine is about this question of success and failure. And I decided, writing has to be its own reward. And I think that the act of writing or becoming a writer is taking an active stance towards life, as opposed to just being a passive consumer, basically. And I think that in itself is its own reward, that you're finding out what you yourself think about things. And so I just, you just keep going. The one thing I'll say is, I read something later that really made sense to me, which is, and it's, Malcolm Gladwell talks about this too, that they were trying to figure out what makes an expert in anything. And they went to this expert on expertise, and they said, well, what is the thing that makes somebody like an expert golfer, an expert magician, an expert chef, et cetera, like, is it natural talent, is it training, is it the people who teach you, like, what is the factor? This expert on expertise said that, like, really the key variable is the amount of time that you spend alone in deliberate practice. And he said, basically, they boil it down, and it's 10,000 hours. If you spend 10,000 hours doing anything, like, to the utmost of your abilities. So if you're a bodybuilder, you're working out until you're exhausted. If you're a chef or a magician, you're practicing until you're exhausted. If you're a tennis player, it's not like you're just having fun playing tennis. This was actually in the context of professional Scrabble players, if you believe it or not. And these are guys who, they don't just play Scrabble with their friends, they sit there and they study flashcards, like 5 hours a day. And they said, if you do something intensively alone, in deliberate practice for 10,000 hours, you'll achieve sort of the grandmaster level. Like a chess player would become a grandmaster. And you may not become Bobby Fischer, you may not become Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods, but you're going to achieve that sort of level of competence. And when I look back at all the time I spent screenwriting, it came out, it was like 5 hours a day, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week for 10 years. And that's 10,000 hours. So that's basically what it does.
I'm just thinking of Woody Allen's line that he was so eager to be, that was about practicing and putting in lots of hours or something. He's so eager to be a good lover that he spends a lot of time practicing by himself.